Isn't it a great day to be a Hawk? I'm stealing the president's line, but there's no better day on the calendar year than today when we can honor so many outstanding student athletes, boosters, coaches, and friends of the program. So thank you all very much for being here. My name is Linda Moore. I am the chairman of the Sports Hall of Fame Selection Committee. And it is my distinct honor to introduce you to our president of this fine institution, Quincy University, Dr. Brian McGee.
Dr. Moore, thank you very much. And yes, she did steal my line because it is always a great day to be a Hawk. But today is an extraordinary day in the history of Quincy University because we get to celebrate the talent, the achievement, the accomplishments, the extraordinary grit and determination of a large group and very special group of the people who have made this institution who it is. As important, as extraordinary as the Sports Hall of Fame is every year, this year is special as we celebrate an extraordinary journey that culminated in the development of an extraordinary program for women's sports at Quincy University. With Title IX came the opportunity for what was done here at QU, but a law did not make it work. What made it work is the extraordinary determination of women at this institution, aided by a few men, some more reluctant than others. Thank you for laughing. To first, in some cases, only tolerate, but then to embrace, celebrate, and honor the extraordinary accomplishments of what are now generations of young women who have come to QU, transformed their own lives, and transformed this university in the process. At QU, we have the special opportunity and extraordinary honor of recognizing the transformative potential and actuality of intercollegiate athletics. And so many of you in this room, whether already Hall of Fame members, soon to be Hall of Fame members, or those of you who are here to celebrate Hall of Fame accomplishments with them, remember a moment when sports changed your life for the better, when you understood what it took to individually excel, or what it took to work with a team to excel. And that created a set of skills for you that made your life permanently better, and that built on the excellence that you were already achieving in the classroom. We are so excited today that we get to honor those who are particularly extraordinary in their accomplishments. Most of us are happy when things are good. When someone describes us as a good parent, a good spouse, a good brother, a good sister, a good child. And there's some good children here today, thank you. As good at our job, and some of us even occasionally get acknowledged as good drivers. But sometimes, very rarely in life, we make that leap from good to great. We achieve that moment when it's true excellence. Good is hard enough. Great is extraordinary. It's rare. Sometimes it's a once-in-a-life experience, and that transcendent one time is still enough. And this is a room full of people who have had that moment when good became great, when excellence was achieved, and that moment has stuck for a lifetime, as your presence in this room today still acknowledges. So are we in favor of excellence? Are there people here who are worthy of our recognition and our honor for the work they did for this institution? This is why, folks, I never say it's a good day to be a Hawk. It's a great day to be a Hawk because creating those great experiences is what we're about here. We've been doing it for 50 years for women's sports now. We have been doing it for very long in and out of the classroom at Quincy College or Quincy University, whatever you attended. And we are going to keep doing that extraordinary work in the future, whether it's about honoring our field hockey team or it's about recognizing our two newest women's sports at Quincy University, women's wrestling and women's swimming. There have never been more opportunities for sport at Quincy University today, and never more opportunities for women in sport at Quincy University than today. I am incredibly proud of those opportunities. I am astonished by the accomplishments of our young men and women, and I'll be at our women's and men's wrestling meet this afternoon at the pool to celebrate the newest generation of Hawks, some of whom one day, God willing, will be sitting in this room with another old white guy, or maybe a more diverse candidate, celebrating the fact that they have achieved as you have achieved. I'm so excited to be here today. I appreciate all of you, and I note that you are the people I came here to meet and to celebrate as alumni of this institution, even as it is my job to create new alumni who are worthy of the hard work you did and of the foundations you built for them. So God bless you on your continuing journey. Thank you for what you did for Quincy College or Quincy University, and it is my extraordinary honor to see you honored today. So with Dr. Phil Conover, our President Emeritus, with all of our administrators here at Quincy University, it is such an exciting moment for me to be here, and I'm going to be smiling every time I hand out a plaque or a certificate. So God bless you, great day to be a Hawk, and congratulations.
On your name tag, everybody has a pin, our Title IX 50th anniversary at Quincy University. Please take those with you. Please wear them with pride. And next February, when the university celebrates Women's History Month, we want to hear about your stories. I'd like to introduce Dr. Christine Tracy, who is the Vice President of Student Development at Quincy University. She is in charge of all the programming and has all kinds of great things planned for Women's History Month in February. So if you have a good story that you'd like to share with our students, please connect with Dr. Tracy after the program today. Christine, you want to stand up? Thank you. I'd also like to quickly thank our Hall of Fame Selection Committee. Andy Tappy, did I see Andy somewhere? Yeah, Andy, great, thank you. Matt Longo, Steve Luton, Paul Brown. We have Charlene Peter. We have several others who couldn't be here with us today, but they made this possible. Our advancement staff, of course, that helped you with registration. They're doing the video. You're gonna see them moving all around today. They're the Rockstar team. I mean, we celebrate Rockstar teams today, but they're the total package and a great Rockstar team too. I'd also like to acknowledge our Field Hockey Legacy Committee, Eileen Sullivan and her team. We will recognize her a little bit later. And thank you, inductees, families, guests, for being here. Before we eat, I think it's only fitting that we do first things first. And today we're celebrating a lot of firsts. Well, we actually started women's sports, I guess you could call it, in 1958 when we admitted our first physical education majors that were women. Until then, we didn't. And shortly thereafter, we had what we called intramurals and then an extramural activity called Play Day, where a group of women went over to Culver Stockton College to play basketball and field hockey and relay races and other games. And that effort was led by Ann Hawk Bergman. Ann went on to become the first women's tennis coach. 2 years later, Charlene Peter came into the picture, introduced team sports and field hockey, and she was our first team coach and administrator. And so I would like Charlene and Ann to come up on stage and join me for a brief presentation.
This bell rings regularly on the Quincy College campus. More than 55 years ago, Bill Schulten was a walking, talking pep club, promoting school spirit wherever he would go. Often, after a wild time at Larry's, students would ring this bell dedicated to his enthusiasm. His spirit still lives today. He had others on campus with him, starting in 1965, who chose to be unforgettable in their own ways. Many inequalities existed in the world, but as we learn in the Bible, big obstacles can be overcome. You just have to have a very particular set of skills. It's possible with a rock and a stick and a funny game hardly anybody had ever heard of. In the 60s, years before they even thought of attending college, boys and girls spent days on the playgrounds, focused on hitting the ball, running the bases, driving in for a layup, in the park or in a gym, laughing and playing. Boys and girls together, dreaming of playing ball when they grew up. And one little girl dreamt of
play third base for the St. Louis Cardinals. I honestly did, because I was a Cardinal fan ever since I was old enough to say Stan the Man.
I mean, I used to open the gym up and lock the gym up. Back in those days, I took the keys home. I was the last one in the gym, and I was the first one there in the morning.
But I would be their catcher, and I would be their pass route runner, all those kind of things. I would pitch, and they would get the hit. I didn't get the hit.
I know, I loved it because, growing up playing with the guys, that's how I got my toughness. I couldn't be out there being a girl and crying. It's like, no.
Few women could play on teams in high school, so when they arrived here, they wanted more. In the mid-1960s, Quincy College fielded men's sports teams, but women were limited to intramurals.
The idea that girls could play sports and play it well had already been established, and their desire to play.
Charlene Taylor's journey started at Holly High School in Michigan, then Eastern Michigan University, and one graduate year at Mizzou. She was hired in the Quincy College Physical Education Department in 1965, and change was on the way.
That just took so much courage. And, what do the old-timey folks say, gumption, to do that. And it had to be a passion that she had.
Charlene wanted the women in Quincy to be able to experience the same kind of competition she enjoyed at Eastern Michigan University. Maybe the administration never actually said yes, and maybe they never said no either.
I'm not really sure I had any communication. It was one of those, let's ask for forgiveness and not permission.
In the 70s, we're more thinking about you should be privileged that you have this opportunity. And but we did have that opportunity, and we took advantage of it.
But I have to give them credit because they did give us time. They did give us facilities. They did let us, participate. So
Quincy College was a fun place to attend. Women often selected the college because it was either a Catholic university or because there was a physical education major. In fact, Quincy was only one of 4 Catholic colleges in the country to offer the phys ed major.
At that time, I was looking for a small co-ed university that had a physical education major for women. I knew it was a very difficult thing to find those schools.
I could figure, there's a major where I can do this and I can do this for a living. Yeah, I'm going to do it.
Ann Bergman had helped the phys ed program grow. Together, Charlene and Ann would guide all the Hawkettes' education.
They were like 2 different personalities, and I think they really blended well together.
Anytime we did anything in the phys ed classes, she and Mrs. Peter were both together.
And people like Mrs. Bergman and Mrs. Peter would tell you, you have this opportunity, make the most of it.
Father Gabriel was the president at that time. Later on, he asked Charlene if she was trying to sneak women's sports into the school. Of course she was. As the head of the physical education department, John Ortworth left the door open for the Hawkettes to come through. As was the case for many QC staff members, he was focused on all of his staff obligations and his own coaching duties.
And it wasn't something we'd had long conversations on before I was hired or even after, but it was just something that I thought I would do. And I probably said to him, "Hey, John, I'm going to call the phys ed majors together and see if they want to play some field hockey.
Anything else? I mean, of all sports, field hockey, you know.
But the women didn't know what they didn't know. Field hockey was a whole new experience.
When I first asked, I've been told that one person raised her hand and said, you know, she had heard of the sport. None of the others ever had.
I didn't even know that there was a game of field hockey. I had never heard of it.
In order to get players, Charlene asked, or told, the phys ed majors that they needed to show up. Then at practice, Charlene asked her players to bring a friend.
She says, you're going out for field hockey, aren't you? That's the way that a lot of them said. They don't ask, do you want to go out for you're going out, aren't you?
No, she just kept bugging me. And I'm like, okay, I'll come out.
These women knew the game of basketball and certainly knew softball, but field hockey was selected to create excitement in the beginning of the 1965 school year.
I fell in love with that sport. I had played softball, basketball, baseball, volleyball as it was at that point in time, but I had never played a sport that excited me or I got just a real thrill out of playing.
So when I got to play, there wasn't anything that was going to stop me.
Oh yeah, we could cut loose. Oh yeah, it's nothing like hitting something. It's great.
I think the people that were playing it were extremely excited. They wanted an outlet. They wanted something outside, as I say, the classroom.
It was a start. It was a beginning. And I think once the genie was out of the bottle, there was no way getting it back in.
In the movie A League of Their Own, Tom Hanks told his star catcher, if it was easy, everybody would do it. It's the hard that makes it great.
And all the running, oh my gosh, the running was exhausting and the field was so long.
It was a tough game physically, and there was a slow learning curve mentally.
I just decided myself, if I'm near the ball and the whistle blows, I'm turning around and going the other way.
If the women wanted a chance to battle, this was the sport.
It was so exciting because it was outside and it was kind of rough. You know, it was a rough game.
It was the one sport where there was some physical contact. I really liked bumping into people and going after the puck with 2 or 3 other people.
There's no doubt that the women of the 60s and 70s were quite happy to be playing, but they were driven to compete.
I think every time we walked down the field, we were going to win.
If you don't have that mindset when you play a sport, you shouldn't be playing a sport.
I love the teamwork, and I think that's one of the things that Char always stressed was the teamwork, working together, being part of something other than yourself.
You need to come every day, 125% every day.
Wins were tough to come by. In year one, in 1965, the Hawkettes had 2 losses, and in 1966, they had a tie and a win. Field hockey gave the women new opportunities. Later that year, basketball and tennis followed. Now, women were competing with and taking on other schools for the first time.
And I think if you look across the whole athletic spectrum, we were very competitive and we pushed to the next level.
When available, practices were on the IM field. Back then, everything was on that field.
It was hard and it was dirty. It was really dirty. I mean, you were knocking that ball in the dirt and all of us would get dirty.
And then you'd have the people that would walk through because they didn't know it was somebody's practice.
You'd have people go by and, you know, catcall us or sit there. We had a lot of fans, though. People would watch us, but especially when we were running, they were like, keep running, keep running.
One year I told you they had planted corn. You know, I guess they didn't think they were planting corn, but they hadn't cleaned out whatever they were putting the grass seed in.
Facilities were unique nearly every place they played.
Where we went to Culver Stockton and they had the light pole in the alley and the field went straight and then it ducked about 10 feet to the side and then it went straight again.
And the funniest part, and you guys are going to get mad at me, but that's okay, their hairdos. Oh my God. How they ran up and down the field with those big old bouffants on.
Typically, a field hockey stick was between 35 and 38 inches long, with a width between 4.3 and 4.8 inches. It has a curved blade on the bottom. Players could only hit the ball on the flat side of that blade.
I said, what's with the sticks? I said, because I played hockey and, you know, we use both sides of the stick. Well, you can only use one side. I'm like, really? You have to turn a certain way, and you can only use the stick a certain way, and it's like, God, I don't know if I could do this.
They'd be like, it's so late. You know, because I get called for turning the wrong way, and they'd be like, I said, well, I'm left-handed. You know, this isn't just going to go away.
It was quite a sight. Players running full speed down the field, juggling that ball that was as hard as a rock, with players swinging those sticks.
Sweet, sweet, sweet girl. She was a freshman. She hauled up, hit that ball, boom! I went flat on the ground, blood everywhere.
I went down once, I think it was at McMurray College. I mean, I got really hit hard with a stick, you know, because the shin guards they shouldn't call them shin guards, they were ankle guards.
The phrase dress for success had not been coined yet, but field hockey players had a few comments of their own regarding the team uniform.
They were awful. They were awful.
We were really excited because it was I think it was in our second year, that someone was going to help us get a uniform.
And this is the cutting edge of uniforms where it had the zipper up the front and it was like culottes, and it was that ugly orange and brown, and you know, you bring your uniform home, wash it, then you have to iron the stupid blouse.
Once you washed them, I can remember us standing there and having two people pulling them to stretch them to make them, you know, stretched so we could get in them. They have the brown and gold on. I think it really elevated it without us even knowing. But I'm really very proud to step into it.
So we played it in basketball and in volleyball and field hockey. So those uniforms got some use. But I thought it was great when we got it.
I can remember the first time we were putting those on, and it was like, whoa, little hawks.
The practice field and times weren't great, but who cared? The uniforms weren't great, but who cared? Travel, meals, equipment, just a few bumps in the road.
For all intent purposes, at least the first 5 years or so was pay to play.
And there was never money.
Slow progress often meant regular change. Including intramurals, women's teams were associated in some capacity with the Women's Recreation Association, the American Association of Health Education and Recreation, the National Association of Physical Education for College Women, and the Division of Girls in Women's Sports. In 1971, the Hawkettes joined the Association for Intercollegiate Athletics for Women. In 1982, they became part of NAIA District 20, and now they are part of NCAA Division II. Few players worried about that constant change. Just tell them what time the game started.
I don't really recall times when they would say, well, Mrs. Peter, why don't we have what the men have?
And it was exciting. It was exciting to please her because we were accomplishing something.
It was a difficult time for them. There was rough roads, bumpy, kind of similar to some of the fields we played on.
I'm thankful to those people that got it started because we were able to play.
I played in 74, my freshman year. The players that played in 65, and remembering what was going on way back then, I just give them a lot of respect.
True equality became possible in 1972 with the passing of Title IX. But nothing changed overnight. It has taken years for progress to occur.
It was something very difficult for the administration to think about what equal was.
I think it was the beginning of junior years when Title IX passed. Of course, we expected everything to change right away, which it didn't.
On the field, the athletes were learning a brand new game, but Charlene made sure the lessons didn't stop there.
Well, now that I look back on it, she was only 6 years older than I was. But in my eyes, you know, she was an adult, she was a professor, she was the coach.
All the time. Every time we would have practice, she would talk about what she was doing and what she hoped we would do and what we were going to do next.
I think Char was Quincy College.
She ties that all together.
As small as she is, she just carries herself like a much larger person and commands the room. You know, when she's there, you know that she's there.
She always had this look, as my mom did too. I always called it the mom look, like, okay, you know, you better not do that, or you better stop that, or, you know.
After all these years, and even during their busy college days, the players always noticed Shar would have time for the important things in life.
If somebody got hurt or if something sad happened in their life, there was that compassion there. But then it was back again.
She had 4 children, I had 3, and I don't know how she did it. I really don't know how she did it.
Most opponents played many more games than those early teams, and it took Quincy a while to make up the difference in their lack of experience. Finally, in 1973, they won 4 and lost 4, then split 6 games in 1974. In 12 years, the program won 15 games, lost 37, and had 11 ties. Charlene had coached the first 10 years, and her sister Janice covered the last 2. After the 1976 season, the program was shut down. In the 12-year history of the program, Jessie Harris had proven herself as an elite player. In all, there were 75 goals scored in QC history, and Jessie had 26 of them. She certainly did her part to build the program.
If it comes down to the money, then a lot of things get kicked to the wayside. And field hockey was one of them, I guess.
Yeah, it was a very busy time. Title IX had been enacted in '72. There were other things happening. All of the sports seasons were getting longer. Everybody was getting pressed for time. It began at a time when it started, and it ended as it had begun. Its time had come, both ways, to start and to end.
Some of the field hockey players who came along in the 70s didn't fully understand what the first players had experienced, but as a whole, players from all 12 years share a common bond.
Intestinal fortitude to, go above and beyond what their classroom responsibilities were. Probably most of them worked somewhere also.
That we're changing and causing a revolution as well as an evolution of women in sports.
Well, it was the first. It laid the groundwork. It was the foundation.
Yeah, I might read up on it before.
Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, start all over again.
These are some of the legends of the program. They were among the first to dream of equal opportunities for women, and instead of just dreaming, they took action. Each step forward was into a new frontier. On their backs, each step carried generations of little girls. They did most of this without making big statements or loud protests. They just kept playing.
When they talk about us, being pioneers, we didn't see that at all.
Really? Huh, pioneers. Yet again. Wow, I didn't know that.
These women established the place that women have a right and have a place on some type of field of experience, be it a basketball floor, a volleyball floor, softball, whatever.
Today, some women athletes see their own problems, but often it's not comparable to what the women of the 60s and 70s went through.
Okay, I don't want to hear it. I wish I had the stuff you have. I wish I had a fraction of the stuff you had.
I think I left in general from Quincy with the thought that with the proper preparation, I could do anything.
I tend to think it was can do, did do, kept going and doing. Those 3 things.
When the Hawkettes talk about their field hockey teams, they don't talk about individual plays or final scores. There's not much focus on the who, what, when, where, and why. But they loved the how, especially how hard they played and how they laughed. They don't think of overall wins and losses.
No. I don't think it can be measured at all by wins and losses. I think it's measured by the individuals that established it, that played it. They all took something away from that program and that experience, but they left something there at Quincy College too.
And now, nearly 55 years later, each woman has a little Quincy College in her blood.
Absolutely. I never had any regrets about that at all. Quincy was very good to me.
But it prepared me for the world. And that's what I appreciate about it. It prepared me for my life going forward.
the idea of what women could do, yeah, they didn't stop. They just kept, okay, what's the next step? What's the next step? We had the direction, we had the parameters, and we just kept pushing them out.
We didn't have everything, but they showed us that we could, no matter what it was, we could figure it out, find the information, and be successful.
I think love for the school, love for Shar, love for athletics will always be there with this group.
It's a piece of Quincy University history. Field hockey. 127 women, 12 seasons. They dreamt it, they saw it, they played it like nobody ever had before.
Again, phenomenal video. Steve and Amy, thank you. And ladies represented by the field hockey team and even those before, man, we are so indebted to your contributions and your commitment. And we're kind of grateful for Steve and Amy also for their vision in researching and producing this video. Well, before we introduce and celebrate our Sports Hall of Fame inductees, we're honored to recognize the legends in the early days of QU women's athletics and to highlight those who were players on QU's first team sport. You saw some of that in the video. As Linda noted earlier in her remarks, Quincy College was ahead of its time in initiating and garnering support for female athletic programs. And as you heard in the video, these field hockey ladies and coaches made this program happen. Here's what I thought of the first time I saw that video. When you're driven because you just love to play a sport and because you love the energy and the competition, you don't count your investment as a sacrifice, you count it as rewards and blessings. And in all athletics, I can see heads shaking, I think we agree with that. The individual players who participated in the field hockey program are noted in the program, and so today we will recognize those who are able to join us. So ladies, as we call your name, please come to the stage. Remain here until all your former field hockey players have joined us. And I will just call you one name at a time. Lynn Armstrong. Tara August. Patricia Blickhan. Rosaria Cicchetti. Jean Field. Mary Gramke. Joyce Grulich. Susan Gribben. Nancy Harper. Jessie Harris. Sue Henning. Kathleen Kochevar. Sue Cruson. Anita Krieger. Donna O'Neill. Don Rupsich. Eileen Sullivan. Terry Take. Janice Taylor. Lovana Topmeyer. Judy Yaste. And ladies, we know that we may have missed some field hockey team members who came to join us today. So if you're one of those, please join us up front for a group photo. Please do that. Thank you. QU is so proud to recognize these ladies as members of the Quincy College Field Hockey Program. And now we move on to presenting awards for the Fall 2022 Sports Hall of Fame class. Our first lady played on the field hockey team. Jessie Haney Harris graduated from Quincy College in 1977 with a physical education degree. She participated in 2 sports, basketball her junior and senior year, and field hockey all 4 years of her college career. Jessie really stood out as a field hockey player. She was honored as the best offensive player her junior and senior years, all-time leading scorer with a career of 26 goals, which set the Quincy College record. She played all 35 matches in her 4-year career with field hockey. She set the record for the most goals in a game, scoring 3 goals in 1 game her senior year. And she finished her career scoring 63% of the goals in the 76 season. And Jessie, one teammate said this about you. She was the whole package, the model of a true Quincy College athlete. And Jessie, they said you brought a powerful mixture of skill and determination with an always positive attitude. Jessie Haney Harris, welcome to the QU Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you. It's rather humbling, but I do have to thank some people. First of all, Coach Peter, who got this whole ball rolling and rolling and rolling. But she was an inspiration for a lot of us, and really, the challenge of learning to play the game was the hardest for me. Like I said in the video, my whole first year, I had no idea what I was doing. And all I knew was whenever the ball came to me and they blew the whistle, I had done something wrong. I had to turn around and go the other way. But that was field hockey for a lot of us for a while. I'd also like to thank the committee for this honor. The ladies that presented the proposal to get field hockey included into the Hall of Fame. Never thought I'd be here. Never thought field hockey would be here. Didn't understand why, but it's one for me to know. Also my family, my son Don and my daughter Sarah. My husband, who I met here, Don, passed away 6 years ago. But this is what he left me. 2 wonderful kids. I have 2 grandkids, a wonderful daughter-in-law. I want to mention one more thing, and you guys, remember the days where it was wet and rainy outside? And I asked Shar one day, I said, can I wear this on the field? Because Because I don't have wash and wear hair. To which she replied, no. So I thought I bought it, I bring it, and I figured it out. This is what I could do with my hair. But, don't care if it gets wet. I figured it out. Took me a while, but I figured it out. But thank you everyone for being here. Administration, that's all I've got to say.
This year, we are inducting an alum into the Sports Hall of Fame for a Professional Achievement Award. Judy Ginnenbacher-Yaste is a '79 grad of Quincy College with a bachelor's degree in physical education, and she earned her master's in physical education at Western Illinois University in '81. Judy was a student athlete playing field hockey. She also served for 3 years as the first women's sports information director and played a significant role in rallying local support and fundraising for women's athletics. Judy's awards, it's a long list. I'll give you a few. Phi Epsilon Sigma Distinguished Service Award, Illinois Association for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance Service Award, Illinois Intramural Recreation Sports Association Award, WIU Outstanding Community Service Award, Excellence in Programming Award from the National Intramural Sports Council, and the Midwest District Young Professional Award. Throughout her life, Judy has continued her commitment to working with people of all ages for sports participation and recreation. Her contributions set her apart as a trailblazer in her professional and personal life. Judy Yaste, we're honored to welcome you into the QU Sports Hall of Fame. Judy is not able to join us today, so Linda Moore is accepting her award, this award in her behalf, and we'll make sure it gets to her. But let's congratulate Judy for accepting this.
I was a 19-year-old student when I met Judy, and Judy was actually my mentor. She started sports information for the women's program. And her attention to detail is meticulous. We were just talking over at our table about scripting events, and as I went through my career of special events, I would have a pregame script that if kickoff was at 7, from 6:01 to 6:22, I had it down to the minute. Judy taught me that. She also put together this book, the only record book we have for women that's complete and accurate. And this ended in 1979 when she graduated. My goal before I die is to get a group of people together to put this together from 1979 forward. That's going to be a challenge because we've lost a lot of records. We had floods in the basements, so it's going to be a challenge. But my hope is I can walk in her shoes one day and be able to do this. The other thing I will say about her professional achievements, as I was getting my master's and my doctorate, I published 3 articles. She's published 48. I don't know where she found the time. I don't think there is a physical education program or a sport program anywhere in the state of Illinois that Judy didn't somehow touch through her work with all of the associations. She made 18 professional presentations. That's a lot of work. And she did it all with love and passion and continues to serve her community and her family. Earlier this week, she had emergency surgery, which is why she couldn't be here today. But I'm not worthy, but I am honored to accept this award on her behalf. So thank you.
Tiffany Kelver is a 2004 QU grad with a degree in exercise science and an emphasis in physical education. Tiffany's achievements with the Quincy University women's basketball team demonstrate her determination to make a difference. She finished her senior year as a 1,000-point scorer and the school's all-time leader in assists and steals. When we say Tiffany had determination, this relates to her commitment to the team, to her skill level, and to her recovery from injuries. Tiffany started every game, every season, until she tore her right ACL at practice her senior year. She spent 2 weeks of what must have been grueling rehab, because just in 2 weeks, she wanted to get back on the court, back in the game. She missed 3 games, but she returned to the starting lineup in time to play the final 2 regular season games and help lead Quincy University to its first conference championship and a regional title. And yes, along the way, Tiffany eclipsed the steals mark and scaled the 1,000-point plateau. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tiffany Kelver as a new member of the QU Sports Hall of Fame.
This thing is on. Can you hear me? Sometimes you never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory. April of '99, I came to Quincy on my official visit. Pouring rain outside, sat in this old gym, looking at the plans to build a new field house. Coach Just from Kentucky had this very strong accent that I could barely understand him. My parents and I sat with him as we discussed my future. I sat in these metal chairs, leaning back with my feet on the chairs in front of me, taking it all in. From that moment, to me, it felt like home. Coach Just's words might be a little bit different of me being too cool. I'll let him tell his side of the story later, but to me, it felt like home. Fast forward to this weekend, I'm driving here down Broadway with the same southern state in which I couldn't understand Coach from, sitting in this exact room, giving me these same feelings that I had the first time I came to Quincy. But this time it's different because I get to share all these memories with all of you. So thank you, Josh and the committee, for organizing this event and bringing us all together today. Also, thank you to my parents for being with me on this journey. I couldn't have done it without you and your support. I also want to thank Coach Just. He is really the reason why we're all here this morning, right? He has taught us all so much: integrity, hard work, friendship, loyalty, and to never forget where we came from. That it is bigger than basketball. It's showing up and being there for each other. Even if that means running 3 miles on a track with no music, 6 a.m. in the morning for a mental test. Even if that means drawing bullseyes on our practice jerseys in black permanent marker to remind us that we're now targets for everyone. Even if that means making us run sprints in between games for missed goals, even if we won by 40. Even if that means huddling after practice and thinking we were getting out early, Lisa starving to death, only to find out that you still have 35 more laps in the pool to swim. So to understand the gratitude of never forgetting where you came from, I want to take a moment and to honor everyone that came before me. So when I say your name, please stand and stay standing. This is all under Coach Just. So first, all conference honorable mention, Jamie Oyker, please stand. First conference win against Lewis University, Laura Jenkins, Di Cox, stand. First time beating a ranked opponent, American International, Katie Mack and Kim Newman. First free throw percentage, all conference honorable mention, Colleen Sexton. First conference tournament appearance against Northern Kentucky, Heather Hall, Kelly Storm, Kristen Traub, and Kim Nagel. And to join them, coaching staff, Amy Siegel, Amy Egan, Emily Hocky. And please, Elite Eight teams, please stand. For all the rest of you, please stand. Elite Eight. Special guest, Doug Johnson. Quincy Harold Wig, Don O'Brien, please stand. And special guest, #1 fan, Dixie Hoffman and her daughter, Ginger. Coach, I just want you to look around the room. Everyone is here because of what you gave to the Quincy community. I've had the pleasure of playing with each and every one of you, so I wanted to personally thank you for all the memories and the Quincy family we have built together. It is more than basketball, we are family. And to the current team in back, welcome to the family.
And it would be the logical succession that our next Sports Hall of Fame inductee is the man who served as coach of the women's basketball program for 10 years at QU, from 97 to 2007. Larry Just took over a program that had no wins in his first season, and he guided them to the first of 4 20-win seasons 5 years later. Under his guidance, go ahead. Under his guidance, the Lady Hawks made 4 consecutive trips to the NCAA Division II National Tournament. In the 03-04 season, Coach Just led Quincy to a 29-5 record with an Elite 8 appearance. While at the helm of the QU women's basketball program, Larry compiled an overall record of 155 wins, 137 losses, building Quincy University into a national powerhouse in women's basketball. Larry Just left QU as the all-time coaching leader in wins and was named the GLVC Coach of the Year 3 times and the Illinois Basketball Coaches Association NCAA Division II Coach of the Year 4 times. Coach Larry Just, please join us on the stage. We are honored to award you membership into the QU Sports Hall of Fame.
Tiffany, you make this hard to follow. First of all, I would like to again acknowledge the other recipients and congratulate them. The pioneers for Quincy University, women's athletics, thank you for the opportunity that we did get during my tenure here. This is hard for a lot of reasons. But I do want to go through and try to thank some people because I represent the people that Tiffany just talked about. This was not me alone. The people in this room put this together. But just to kind of give you an idea, when I got started in coaching, my brother was the head coach of Bellarmine College at the time. He asked if I wanted to help coach women's basketball. I thought, there's no way. And he kind of went through the same thing when he was starting his coaching career. And he said, you know, coaching basketball is coaching basketball. It doesn't matter if it's men's or women. You're coaching basketball. You're coaching people. And so I took that with me. And so after 8 years, I decided to venture out on my own and come here. But before that, and I don't want to lose this because anytime that I've ever spoke, the person that I feel like that gets lost in this is my wife. It's always one of those that it seems like at the end, it's like, oh, by the way, you know, she's been with me for 26 years now. We had just gotten married, both of us from Louisville, never been away from home. We go into a place called Quincy University that we didn't even know existed. And so we took an adventure. And while our time here, we actually had our 3 kids that are also here with me. Many of the players, you guys were the babysitters for us. You know, let's face it, you did those things. And so this place has a very special place in my heart, and it always will. But again, Denise, thank you for being with me through this journey. For my kids, thank you for supporting and allowing me to do what I do, which has been coaching for, like I say, over 30 years. So I appreciate that. Beyond that, as we start kind of going through this, Jim Namovich was the guy that brought me here. And Quincy University women's basketball obviously struggled before I got here. And after the first year, we go 0-26, and I think there was a lot of people wondering, why'd you hire this guy? You know, we seem to go backwards. But there's a lot of times that I've been asked, and there's a lot of times I've referenced my 0-26 year, and I've got some players that were here with me through that time. And it was actually one of the best years we've ever had. And I would never, never take it back. We grew so much, we learned so much, and that's really what this was all about at the end of the day, was trying to grow. And even though you got the wins and the losses, everybody looks at wins and losses, The one thing that I felt like we were trying to do at Quincy University was build a program. And that program was based on people and how you go about it. So the neatest thing about today for me is not just seeing the players, because you guys have done awesome about staying together, but it's seeing your families with you. Because in the recruiting process, you were part of that process. And you're what made us what we were during that time. So I thank Jim Domovich first for giving me a chance. And I thank him and Pat Atwell, who's the other AD, for continuing to give me a chance, because like I said, you go 0-26, you go 5-21 and 6-20 in your first 3 years, and in today's world, you're looking for a new job. I told Don that before. He's like, you know, how do you feel? This was the year we're getting ready to host out here. And I said, I'm lucky, because they said they gave me a chance. And we were able to do something with that. So I thank the university, and now you got to get to my coaching staff, who has been awesome through my years here. It started with Jill Roth, and then we brought Amy Siegel in, brought Amy Egan in, and then we brought them back together all at one time, which gave us a chance to do what we did. I had Andy Brooks, I had Sari Morley. You don't have success without people around you that allow you to have that success, particularly at this level. And so the time, the energy, and sacrifice these people have made, very much appreciated, because you're every bit a part of this, and I hope you know that, without saying. Players, yeah, I'm not going to go through all the stories. I can tell you, Tiffany, and I think they make some of these things up, by the way. At least I have a short memory, I guess. But, you know, for you guys to come here and trust me, parents, for you to trust your child with me, that means a lot. That means a lot, because for many of you guys, it's coming away from home for the first time. And you had no idea who I was, guy from Kentucky, you know, who is this person? But the thing that was built here, as I said, and the thing that's been so special has been you guys. I'm not a big social media guy, but I've learned to get on social media, at least to follow you on Facebook and see what you do and what your families do. But the neatest thing about this group has been just that, is that they take care of each other. And it doesn't really matter through good times and tough times, and they've had some tough times. They've been there right there with each other every step of the way. And to me, if there's anything, this trumps anything that's ever happened here. It's the fact that these young ladies have gone on beyond, and they take care of one another, because that's what we preached. You know, our faith and our family was the first and foremost things that we talked about. Basketball was after school, but the family was important. And to see that here today means a lot to me. Tiffany mentioned our number one fan, Dixie and Bill Hoffman. Dixie and Bill, every home game, sat right down here on the corner next to our locker room. Never missed it. Dixie would be here today if she was not sick. And we miss her. I mean, it's she and Bill, they were like my mom and dad away from home. They took care of us just like many of the people here that lived in Quincy took care of us. You know, when we're 6.5 hours away on a journey we weren't real sure of. But they were right there and still are. And so I hope Dixie gets feeling better, but I wanted to make sure we definitely recognized her and Bill, because like I said, they were very special to us as a program. You know, I think the thing that I take away, this is, I keep going back, this is not just me. You know, I'm extremely honored, I'm extremely blessed, and I come from a family that I wish they could be here today as well. My mom and dad, who really is the reason I left Quincy University. I left here on a dream to try to build a program, but in the back of our minds, our family was back home in Louisville, Kentucky. And when we left 16 years ago, it was to get back home to moms and dads, get back to uncles and aunts, and let my kids see who their families actually are. Otherwise, I'd probably still be here today, honestly. This place has such a great place, and it's amazing because how many people come through Quincy University that didn't know it and have decided to stay? How many people come back through Quincy University in Quincy and just make it an annual thing? It's a special, special place, and it's because of the people that are here. So believe me, as I say, I'm honored and blessed to have this opportunity to be here today. But I'm happier to see all my former people that could make it today, because they're the ones that allow me to stand here today. All the memories, like I said, I'm looking forward to just spending more time, hopefully, with them before they take off and I take off again. But thank you all, every single part of this that you've had a piece in. I don't ever forget this. Believe me, we talk about it often, and we see it often. And this is the living legacy that I'm hoping that the new players, that you understand where you are and what it can be and what it should be, that it goes beyond just you and the basketball court. Because one day that ball does stop bouncing, and it doesn't mean you have to stop relationships and caring, no matter where you are, because we got people throughout the country, and they still find ways to take care of one another. So players, thank you so much. Coaches, thank you so much. And again, obviously family, thank you so much. And very appreciative of the opportunity today.
Our final inductee is the 2003-2004 women's basketball team. We've heard a little bit about this morning, but the 03-04 team ended their season with a record of 29-5, and they were undefeated at home. The Hawks made it to the Elite Eight NCAA Great Lakes Regional Tournaments, where they lost by 1 point. There are many impressive stats from this 03-04 program. As a team, the Hawks averaged, here's what stood out to me. As a team, they averaged 72 points per game. Their opponents averaged 56 points. Yeah, let that sink in. They hit 47% of their field goals and 34% of their threes. Several players earned GLVC All-Conference Team and Second Team selection, and of course their coach was named GLVC Coach of the Year. So ladies, please come to the stage as I call your name and remain here until all former teammates have joined you. You will get a plaque from Dr. McGee, and we'll do a photo op on that side. Lindsay Anderson. Carrie Backen-Welker. Alyssa Brandt Jarrett. Amber Dvorak Feldner. Ashley Dvorak Ailes. Lisa Farrell. Michaela Frey Tappy. Tracy Grapenthan Albrecht. Tiffany Kelver. Deanna McCormick Ludwig. Jessica Stuckman. Courtney Vonderhaar Benfield. Alex Weiser. Jenny Wisser Shaw. And I know that assistant coaches, managers, trainers, you're here as well. Please join us for the team photo op. And Coach Just, please join them too. And let us say one more time, we are proud to recognize these ladies representing the 03-04 QU Women's Basketball Program as members of the Sports Hall of Fame. There's so much to celebrate as we look back at QU Women's Athletics and the leadership that paved the way for these trailblazers. Wrapping up today's Sports Hall of Fame ceremony, we also want to highlight a few significant advancements and contributions. Softball finished their 85 season as NAIA national runner-up in a 40-7 record. The women's soccer team made it to the Final Four in 94 and 95. They made NCAA tournament appearances in 06, 07, 08, 09, 2011, 12, 13, 15, and 2017. And that was women's soccer. Women's basketball teams made NCAA tournament appearances in 03, 04, 05, 06, 08, 09, 2011, 12, 14, and 2016. Softball made the NCAA tournament appearance the first time in school history in 2010. And within the last couple years, women's lacrosse, bowling, and wrestling programs have been added, and women's swimming returned this year. So much to celebrate.
Again, this is a team that obviously was the best team that we've had since I was part of Quincy University. And again, all the people that came before them helped build this program to where that got that year, which was really kind of the trust that they had for us. You know, our program when we started was kind of not very good. The recruiting line was, you can sit back and say we're not very good, or you can come here and make a difference. And they decided to come make a difference. And so the one thing that, beyond all the many memories we have, and I think this year's team that we're talking about that just got inducted, we're never going to forget, I'll never forget, is the night that we hosted this regional right here in Quincy University in that 2004 season. When I first took over the job here, it was very clear to me, my opinion, Quincy was a boys basketball town, which was fine. It is what it is. And for us, we were trying to build it into something to be more than that. And the night that we actually had a chance to host the NCAA regional for the first time in school history right here in 2004. And beyond my wildest dreams, okay, never would imagine that night that we hosted Lake Superior State here. And by the way, I went back and watched that game yesterday, just for the fun of it. I never would imagine it, but we're getting ready for a game out here that night against those guys, and everybody was talking before that night. Lake Superior State was averaging 80-something points a game. How are you going to stop them, blah, blah, and it was like, we're just going to do what we do. And that particular night, we ended up winning 66-49 right here. But the thing that stood out to me more than anything was the community of Quincy, because that night we sold this place out. Over 2,000 people were here to watch that team that you just recognized play an NCAA tournament that advanced to the Elite Eight. People were they had the doors closed. An hour before they opened the doors, which is what was allowed, literally students were running to find a seat. This whole place was full. They're sitting here doing the wave. They're doing all the things that you see on TV every place else. They were doing it right here for our players. And It didn't take long. We started that basketball game. I think we had 4 block shots. I think Courtney had 3 or 4 of them right away. And all of a sudden the tone was set and everything took off and jumped out from there. But the beauty of this team is that we were truly 15 deep. This wasn't a program at that time that was like, play 7 or 8 players, that's it. We played a lot of players and they all contributed. And then the extra piece that made this extra special was not even did they win here, but sitting there as they're cutting down the net, nobody left the arena. The fans were still sitting in the stands watching these young ladies celebrate that achievement because they knew they were part of that. And those are the things, the memories that I have. Yes, there's a lot of things we talked about, but that year's team, the special piece that they had, not just with each other, but with the community, and how the community latched onto them and supported what they did was absolutely unreal and amazing. And from what I understand, it has never happened again. And I'm hoping that your challenge back there is that you get it back here again one day, because it's an unbelievable experience that, like I said, will live with me forever, and I know it's going to live with the rest of these people as well forever. So, like I said, this is extremely a special group of young ladies, and it certainly doesn't take away anything from all the other ones who were not part of that team, because you helped get us there. Every year was a part of that piece that we needed. And so, again, I thank them and congratulate them as well on an outstanding year.
Thank you, Coach. I would like to call Amy and Steve Luton up here right now so you guys can give them one more last recognition. Amy, Steve. Many of you know I worked for ESPN for 20 years. And this is every bit as good as the 30 for 30 film. So who knows, they may have a future together as executive producers. And they stayed married through the project. Another person I'd like to thank is Anita Krieger. She put a group of women together to research the Title IX timeline that you'll see on your table. And feel free to take it with you. If you would like your own personal copy, you can see our development staff at the front desk, and we'll send you a copy as well. It's very thoroughly researched, so Anita, come on up. From the very first day that we had a play day at Culver Stockton in 1964, to fielding the first field hockey team, to taking a team to the Elite Eight in the national tournament, those activities would not have been possible without our boosters. There were a lot of women and men who gave time, talent, and treasure to make sure the women had what they needed. And so I would like them to stand up right now so that we can recognize them. I see a lot of them at this table. Pat, Patty, I know I see some others. You ladies did more for our program than you'll ever know, so thank you very much. I'd also like to thank Chartwell's Catering for providing brunch. I'd like to thank our administration, Dr. Brian McGee, President, Dr. Tracy, Vice President, Phil Conover, President Emeritus. Their support of the Athletic Hall of Fame has just been immeasurable. I've been the chairman of the committee now for, I think, about 8 years, if I remember. And without their support, we wouldn't be here. We also need financial support to keep the program going. And anyone who feels generous today, You can see someone at the front desk and they would tell you how you could make a contribution so we can keep these programs going. This is by far our largest that we've had in a while. So we're very proud of that, and we want to keep this tradition going. In the spring, we will induct 12 individuals, and we finally got caught up. So next year, we'll go to one ceremony a year. I'd also like to thank our development staff, you know, the ladies that helped you at the front desk, that got you through the catering lines, Matt, Chris. Without you guys, like I said in the beginning, you guys are a rock star team. So thank you for all you do for the university. Earlier today, we mentioned that there was a field hockey legacy committee. Well, this committee was a group of women who worked for about 18 months to pull together a list of everyone who played field hockey. Where were they? How do we contact them? What did they accomplish? What was their experience like? It led to the video you saw today. It led to the book that will be available at the end. So I would like Eileen and her committee to stand up, please, and be recognized. A lot of volunteer hours were put in, so thank you guys very much for all you did to make this happen. Next, I'd like to call Casey Bailey up. Casey, where are you? I know you're in the back. Oh, there we go. Great. Casey is our women's basketball coach. Similar to Larry, she was brought in to change the culture and make things happen, and already she's done so much. These women that you see seated in the back are amazing. They are our next generation of leaders, and I have no doubt some of them are going to be in this room in the future. So, Casey.
That's the most they've ever cheered for me, so. First, I want to say thank you for showing tribute to Title IX. Obviously, without that, I don't think I'd probably be standing up here. But I want to say first, I'm glad to see Amy here because that means you're not in practice, so that's good. Thanks for having it on a Saturday to take her away from Drury's practice. But what an honor to be here. You know, when I told this QU staff, hey, can we bring our team? They're like, well, we have 120 people, I don't know. And I was like, well, I think it's really important for our team to come and see this. And our girls were like, Coach, we got to get up in the morning. We played at U of I last night, and when you play on TV, you can't get around to 7 o'clock tip, so I think we got in about 1:30 last night, so they all have Carters in their hand, but they're here. So I think some of their eyes are still closed, but I think it's important for this team to see what we chase. Coach Just, I want to say I want to be like you when I grow up, because you took over a program with 0 wins, and I took over one with 2, so not far off, so I feel your pain. But yeah, same boat. You know, obviously, when I was looking at this job, I was working for Nyla Millison, who's at Drury right now. I really wanted a head coaching job, and I went to her and I said, you know, Quincy, you know, blah blah blah, and said I don't really know where Quincy, Illinois is. I played at Southern Illinois, but I was like, they only won 2 games, and she's like, no, they were really good when I coached at Drury, and I was like, okay, so without her, I wouldn't even entertain the job, to be honest. But kind of went about that, and people were like, well, how are you going to take over a program with 2 wins? Like, that's really hard to build a program. And it is. It's not for the weak. I got a lot of gray hair last year. But thanks to you guys sitting in this room, we signed 10 new people this year, and we signed them on a vision and on a tradition of what we're trying to chase. I tell recruits all the time in my speech, those new sitting in there in the chair, I was not brought here to do something for the first time. I probably wouldn't have taken the job if that was the case, to be honest. But I was brought here to get back to where we were. It's been done here. There's banners there. There's a few, not enough, things on our locker room wall showing the success, the tradition here. But because of you guys in this room, we have something to sell, something to chase, a vision to go after, and honestly, it helps us get recruits right now until we can get. I sure hope I can get to 21s in 5 years, though. But so to those that were involved, not even just 03, 04, but if you are a women's basketball alum, coach, manager, had any part in the history that we have today, will you please stand? stay standing, stay standing. I personally want to thank you for what you have done for this university and for this program. We have a tradition. We have the same locker room, the same court that you guys played in, but we have that tradition that we can sell to recruit. So I just want to personally say thank you to what you guys have done for this program to allow us to have standards and tradition to chase. I promise we are working. Took over okay, you guys can sit now, I guess. My staff always tells me you need to follow a speech because if not, you'll just talk forever. So I know Jenna's back there like, come on. Now I lost my train of thought. But no, thank you guys, seriously, for what you've done for this program, for this community. We're working, took over a program with 2 wins. We won the most games last year since 2015-16 season. I think before that we won 4 or 5 games. We won 9 games last year. Making strides, super proud of that team last year. Our whole focus was to lay a foundation, build a culture, and we did that. We did just that. We recruited 10 new players, and I hope we can get past 9 wins this year. But at the end of the day, it's not about the wins and losses. It's about the family. If you know me, you know my motto is you win with people. I will always surround myself with high motor, high character. It's a non-negotiable in my professional and personal life. But I promise you that we're working to get it back. So hopefully one day myself or one of these players sitting in the back can be on this stage and in this room being recognized just like you. So thank you.
Ladies on the current team, can you guys come up here for just a second? You can stand right in front here. I just wanted to put these ladies in front of you instead of behind you because this is the face of our next generation. Many of us had to fight for what we needed and what we wanted. Sometimes we just did and begged forgiveness later. But these ladies are going to continue that tradition and pay it forward just like we've done. So these faces are here right now. I want to see them up here in the future. And they'll be on stage not just for their athletic achievements, but their academic achievements. I know we have at least one who's going to medical school. I think we have somebody looking at law school. These are true student athletes, and we can be very proud of them. Thank you, ladies. Have a great season. Again, you can catch their games on QUhawks.com on the GLVC Sports Network. Can you tell I was in radio at one point?
We really couldn't let this day get past us. Come up here, Linda. Without thanking this lady. We cannot measure her level of commitment and passion and drive for every part of this university. It's a pleasure to work with you for this and many other opportunities. So Linda, thank you.
And with that, travel safe. I'd like to give everybody one last quick blessing. I think we're going to make him Father Dr. McGee. But Dr. McGee would like to just give a last blessing.
As Dr. Moore knows, the Franciscans keep telling me that I'm a religious leader by dint of the fact that I'm president of this wonderful Franciscan institution. That is the most terrifying thing anyone has ever said to me. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, good and gracious God, please bless every member of this community at Quincy University. May we continue to raise daughters and sons of this institution who are worthy of those who have gone before. May we all go forth knowing that we serve you and we serve one another in love each and every day. That is the hallmark of a Quincy University graduate. That is the charge to and the challenge to which we must aspire. May we all remember the lessons learned learned here, and may those lessons follow us all the days of our life. May all of you be blessed in your return home, knowing that this university loves and cares for you as you have cared for it. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, it's a great day to be a Hawk. God bless everyone. Farewell.